We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with a bit of news surrounding Sami Zayn, who, as we had reported in one of our previous videos, was getting close to his WWE contract expiring, with rumors suggesting that Sami Zayn's current deal with WWE was set to expire at the beginning of 2022 in January. As we had mentioned, there is a lot of speculation that Sami Zayn could be looking to potentially leave WWE and join another wrestling company that could better utilize his talents, like AEW for example. And just earlier today, Sami Zayn put out a very troll-like message on social media, with Sami's tweet reading, "A cryptic tweet about my future." And Sami likely put out this sarcastic message because of all the buzz and news coverage recently over his WWE contract and the possibility of Sami leaving in the near future. Now, one of our sources has noted that there is a chance Sami Zayn could end up signing some kind of a new deal, or at the very least a contract extension with WWE, although compared to Kevin Owens, the chances of Sami Zayn leaving for AEW are quite a bit higher, because as many of you are probably aware, Vince McMahon and WWE don't really view Sami Zayn as any kind of a legitimate top-level superstar, and his ceiling in WWE will always remain the same in the mid-card most likely. And Sami is likely getting to the point where he feels AEW may be the better option for his career, instead of continuously being booked the way he has been in WWE with little room for growth. Now, in all honesty, AEW could potentially be a solid option for Sami Zayn to consider, because he definitely is not going to be getting any real significant pushes in WWE anytime soon, and while he could definitely continue to coast along in WWE as a stagnant mid-card act and get a solid paycheck, AEW would certainly provide Sami with better creative storylines and overall just better booking, and a chance to become more of a top player compared to WWE. Now, there's no doubt that the wrestling world is still in a bit of a state of shock with the surprise return of the cult of personality CM Punk in AEW, because at the beginning of the year in 2021, there was literally no legitimate talk of CM Punk making a comeback to wrestling compared to previous years. And now to begin the fall months of 2021, CM Punk is not only back in wrestling, but wrestling for WWE's competition All Elite Wrestling, which is such noteworthy news. Now, by all means, CM Punk's run in AEW has just begun, and it will take some time to figure out how successful of a run he will have in All Elite Wrestling, but as of right now, all signs point to CM Punk having a great near full-time run in AEW and likely get another World Championship run in the near future. However, some fans are still a bit surprised that CM Punk would choose to join AEW instead of working out some kind of a return deal with WWE. But Renee Young recently had an interview and was asked about her thoughts on CM Punk deciding to join AEW over making that big WWE return. And Renee basically stated that she was not surprised whatsoever that CM Punk chose AEW, because there really was not anything fresh for CM Punk to do in WWE, whether that be in regards to storylines, certain talent in WWE that CM Punk could have wanted to work with, etc., and that AEW was going to provide CM Punk with the big money, the creative freedom, and the wrestlers that CM Punk had an interest in working with these days. Now, in all honesty, it really is not that surprising that AEW is the company that CM Punk chose to work with for his wrestling return, because the animosity between CM Punk and Vince McMahon is definitely very high, especially with Punk usually being very critical of the current WWE product. And it's unlikely that Punk's return to wrestling in WWE would have worked out that well in the grand scheme of things, even though the money could have been great. But at the same time, AEW definitely has more than enough money to make CM Punk joining the company worthwhile. Even though WWE had previously mentioned that they had no interest in working with CM Punk to begin with, it's likely that they put this information out there after it was clear that the chances of CM Punk coming back were slim to none, because at the end of the day, Vince McMahon is a businessman and he knows the ratings and attention that CM Punk could have brought to WWE on Raw or SmackDown. And an offer from WWE to CM Punk was most likely made before Punk ended up deciding to sign with AEW. Now let us know if you guys feel as though CM Punk made the right choice to join AEW over potentially working out some kind of a return deal with WWE, and in your honest opinion, do you think that CM Punk is going to have a successful run in AEW over the long term? Let us know. While WWE may have thought that releasing and firing The Fiend Bray Wyatt was not a big deal nor a major loss to the company, with the sheer amount of anticipation and hype from fans that has been building for Bray Wyatt's next move in wrestling following his WWE release, this shows that Bray Wyatt is still in fact a huge star, and will be an asset wherever he goes next. And though there had been speculation that Bray could have been transitioning out of wrestling, those rumors thankfully are not true, and Bray Wyatt will be wrestling in the near future. And for those of you unaware, Bray Wyatt has teased his return to wrestling once again, with Bray's message on Twitter reading as followed: "Everything will be clear. I'll see you all very soon. Revenge is a confession of pain." Now, as of right now, one of our sources has mentioned that it is almost a guarantee that Bray Wyatt, aka Wyndham Rotunda, is going to be signing and joining with AEW All Elite Wrestling once his non-compete clause runs up with WWE, and that these teases on social media are in reference to Bray making the jump to AEW. Now, while this is just speculation right now, one source noted that there is apparently a possibility that Bray Wyatt's real-life brother Bo Dallas could also find himself joining AEW after Bray does, with AEW apparently having potential interest in Bo Dallas working with Bray Wyatt either in a storyline together or with the Dark Order. Although again, that is just speculation right now, although the door is always open to Bo Dallas signing with AEW at any point, as he does not have any non-compete clause with WWE to worry about. Regardless, the anticipation is only growing for Bray Wyatt's AEW debut, and hopefully it occurs sooner rather than later, with rumors currently mentioning that Bray's non-compete clause with WWE ends on October 29th, which is about a week prior to AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view in early November. Now, with all the rumors and teases that Roman Reigns' and Paul Heyman's alliance or partnership together is going to be coming to an abrupt end in the near future, a lot of fans are now wondering exactly when this massive betrayal or turn is going to happen between Reigns and Heyman. And with the latest rumors provided to us, it looks as though the Extreme Rules 2021 pay-per-view event could in fact mark the end of Roman's alliance with Paul Heyman. According to a new behind-the-scenes rumor, WWE could very well be planning for Paul Heyman to officially turn on Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules 2021, with the rumor going on to mention that if Heyman does in fact turn on Reigns at Extreme Rules, Paul would end up helping the Demon Finn Balor win the Universal Championship from Roman Reigns, with WWE feeling as though this shocking swerve or twist would accomplish two things. One being Paul Heyman leaving Roman Reigns and going back to managing the babyface Brock Lesnar, and the second being the Demon Finn Balor getting that huge Universal title win and keeping his undefeated streak as a Demon on the main roster intact, while at the same time not being a clean loss for Roman Reigns, who WWE want to protect at all costs.